what's good, and what's
cracking. Name's Daniel. Nuclear thuggery powered by real gangbanger activities are ahead in this video. In other words, we're going to be talking about gangs, and not the swamp ones this time. The powerful pit gangs to the southeast of the continent of Kenshi. The only gangs whose power rival that of the main factions of the land. All with vastly different ideals and principles. That means today we'll be answering the big questions about the southeast pits and its inhabitants. Which one is the strongest? Who is the best to ally with? And who has the biggest crabs? Where did the square hole come from? Is this where the deepest lore is buried? Did Strobe create the square hole to save humanity? Why are green fruits not called purple vegetables instead? But before we get ahead of ourselves, we will only be talking about the pit gangs, the stronger gangs of the southeast, and their notable effects on you, the player, and the world around them. Kinda like that swamp gang video I made. Today we're gonna put these impressive gangs under the microscope and take a good look at them. But who are these gangs I keep mentioning? The Reavers, a faction led by a large Shek hell-bent on destroying the United Cities. They use slaves as battle fodder and to swell their ranks. It's not uncommon to see them attacking their own slaves as they try to escape a fight that turned sideways for them. The Skeleton Bandits, humans brainwashed into thinking they are skeletons, led by skeletons. Humorously, they wear signature metal masks to achieve this skeleton look, and will even keep up the robot act when getting thrashed in a fight. But not to be confused with the Skin Bandits, which are skeletons who have been CPU washed into thinking they are humans, led by a human. Horrifyingly, they achieve this by wearing human skin. And if you're not careful, you can become a suit of it yourself. And last, the Crab Raiders, a sophisticated bandit gang rich in crab culture. They have a somewhat friendly small village we can visit and are led by Crab Mama in their own crab town capital, and are obsessed with crabs. Replace crabs with crawfish, and these folks are basically just your average Louisiana residents. So there are two major things to note about all these gangs we're going to be talking about. They all hate each other, so it's on site when they meet out in the field, no questions asked. And the other thing is that they kind of hate you too, unless you ally with one of them. If you're not allied with any of these guys, expect them to send raids to your outpost and a decent chance to get harassed by them out in the field whenever you encounter them. But make no mistake, they are all worthy allies and opponents. Good thing you can choose to ally with one of them and get some friends out here in the pits, if you know how to go about it. Well, all of them except one group, the Reavers that is. So, let's talk about them first. With the Reavers, you can't actually seem to join them in any real capacity, but if you feel up to it, you can become a part of them. You can tag along with them by becoming a warrior slave. Upon getting defeated in battle by them or jumping in one of the cages they own, they will promptly enslave you, and you may join them that way, serving them forcibly. But they ain't gonna have you mine rocks. The Reavers themselves are a pretty unique gang when it comes to the other ones, despite being the most normal and bandit looking. They're obviously a capture faction, meaning they'll give it the old snatch and shackle treatment when you get KO'd in a fight with them. But instead of getting put to work at the mines afterwards, they will send you into battle and have you join their patrols, which is kinda neat, and it sets them far apart from the other gangs. The Reavers have a few military camps scattered around their headquarters, but their main foothold is this headquarters, Ark. It's a really cool giant factory building they have transformed into like a real cool pimp pad. And their leader, Valamon, is the owner of probably one of the coolest setups in any faction in my opinion. I mean, look at all this cool stuff. It's a damn shame we can't be a part of this genuinely. It seems like they have the real deal with this setup. So, why don't we try and talk to Valamon? Well, it's not easy since everyone here is hostile on site. But, say we run or sneak in here and make it to Mr. Valamon himself, we do actually get a talk prompt, interestingly enough. And while you can talk to him, like all the other leaders, you can't necessarily say anything to him. As soon as you engage in a conversation, he will make it very clear that you are now his property, more or less. like all of the Reavers under his control. Funny enough, this doesn't actually turn him or the Reavers nearby hostile if you manage to sneak up to him and talk to him quick enough, so it's probably not intended that we are able to talk to him. So, there is no way to join them officially like the other gangs around here. What can we do to assist or contribute to this faction then? Well, if we choose to become a slave, we can join them in a loose sense. So how does that work? After being shackled and being healed by the worst medic I have ever seen in this game, we are caged and given the Reaver speech through a wall by this bastard who stole my cool fog mask. This long, rehearsed, indoctrinating speech, which boils down to, you're a bitch now, and you will do what we say, and we say you fight to destroy the nobles. Biatch. This whole faction's purpose is to destroy the nobles of the United Cities, and they are as obsessed with this goal as the crab raiders are with crabs, and that's impressive. Hyper obsessions seem to be the theme of the pit gangs, so despite being neighbors with robots who literally wear human skin, they somehow fit right in shockingly, and is most likely why they are able to compete and survive out here with the others. While in this cage, you can be given the option to ask to speak to Valaman himself and ally with him officially, but you already are. You're in the cage already, and you're gonna fight for the Reavers and Valaman's cause whether you want to or not, chump. And that's it for the joining process for the gang. Other than waiting to be taken on patrol, your contribution to the Reavers is as a meat shield, and sadly you can't actually climb the ranks or gain faction points or anything like that, even if you are loyal and serve them. And with the gear you're given, you're probably going to end up like the other slaves you're marching alongside of. Missing limbs or dead after a few fights. And if you try and run, I hope you're faster than this guy who had the same plan. Once a Reaver, always a Reaver. But what about the world states with these guys? Despite not being able to actually join this faction in any meaningful way, what if we decide to help them expand by chopping their rivals? Just because. What can we do to increase their hold and influence on the world? Well, if we cook the Crab Queen, scrap the Elder, and peel Savant, the other rival pit gangs will fall apart without their leaders, and the Reavers will make some interesting moves. But how do things change with the Reavers being the only ones left in the area? What do they do with this new power vacuum? Well, the crab capital becomes trashed and becomes a nest for fishermen, and the crab raiders spawn weaken drastically afterwards. But the crab village nearby does get taken over by the Reavers, expanding their influence, turning its shops and homes into prisons and barracks for the Reavers to use to fuel their blood war against the nobles. With the Elder dead, the leader of the Skeleton Bandits, spawns will weaken and decrease. The headquarters of the Skeleton Bandits will actually go to the Southern Hivers, interestingly enough, a faction pretty far away from all the pit gangs themselves, so it's pretty interesting to see. And even if we bug spray the Southern Queen, the Reavers still won't take over the Skeleton Bandit HQ and it will just become ruins. With Savant and the Skin House HQ cleared out, spawns of Skin Bandits will weaken, and unsurprisingly, no one wants to take over this Nightmare Palace for their own, so nothing will happen to their headquarters other than one of its buildings getting destroyed. However, the Southern Hive does take an interest in the old Skin House outposts around the headquarters, and they will take them all over for themselves, leaving whatever remaining Skin Bandits to be hunted down by the Southern Hive that will now be patrolling the areas now where the Skin Bandits and Skeleton Bandits once roamed in mass. Strangely enough, the Southern Hivers that occupy the old Skin Houses are friendly. They will turn red if you mouse over them, but even if you walk over their sworn enemy, a Western Hiver, they will remain hospitable, so you can actually rest and relax in the Skin Houses with Red Bugmen. Assuming you don't get caught by a very still hostile patrol of the Southern Hivers that spawn naturally around now, that is. With the Skin Houses being taken over by the Southern Hive, the only real thing the Reavers do is take over the small crab village, so not too much going on with the Reavers in the pits with all the changes. So, with that, the East pits are now half Southern Hivers and half Reavers at best, with most leaders gone. What else can they take over if we pull more strings? Let's take a trip over to Brink, a United City town somewhat close to Ark, the Reavers' territory. It is a sizable town ruled by a local noble, a Lady Sugi, a straight girl boss and certified thick lady. This United City settlement, if we disappear Lady Tsugi, it will be taken over by the Reavers, turning it from a town into a military forward base. Because of this, with the town of Brink under their control, they will now start to invade the bottom part of the United Cities, spawning patrols in the Storm Gap coast, the vicinity of Brink, and basically all the way into the Eye. So with this, they are ready to walk into the desert. Almost. We need to take down another specific noble before they can actually start to spawn in Hang itself. If we go over to the city of Hang, not to be confused with the region of Hang, the city is also named Hang, and the region around it is also called Hang. Oddly, they're both called Hang. If we kill the residing noble here, Lord Yoshinaga, the Reavers will now take the fight to the United City's front door. But past this, they won't actually go any farther. I guess they lose steam. So they won't spawn any farther into the desert, and they won't take over any more cities. They might be done with the United Cities, but there is one more really odd place that can fall under their control if the specific requirements are met. Akron's Shield. The place that separates the Holy Nation and the United Cities and acts as a border to the Holy Lands themselves. The Reavers get to take over this impressive fort. You must strangely enough kill Emperor Tengu and the High Inquisitor Valentina, the commander of Akron's Shield. The Reavers will then take over the fort, claiming it as their own. After taking it over, patrols will now wander into the Holy Nation lands and into the desert to do battle with paladins and samurai, which is really cool. Sadly, they will also do battle with us, seeing how, as we mentioned before, we can't actually ally with these guys. And with this, that is all of the places that they can spawn and take over. Pretty strange you can do so much to help a faction and they will still attack you on sight, but that's pretty much Kenshi for you. Is it worth it? Not really, but it is really cool you can achieve something like this anyway. But that's the Reavers more or less. So let's talk about a pit gang we can actually join. And this one's a little tricky to do so. The Skeleton Bandits. Have you ever actually joined these guys before? The guys with the metal masks, not the skin ones? Well, if we try to talk to their leader as a human, the Elder, when we walk up and see what's good, we will be attacked on sight, which makes sense. These are humans brainwashed into thinking they are skeletons and are on a mission to destroy humans. So at first it looks like we can't join them. However, if you walk a skeleton party member over, it is safe, and you can actually talk to one of the skeleton bandits and check out this amazing dialogue I found.
Join us, we can converse about histories and polish our nuts by the campfire.
But after talking to them, they will go hostile for some reason, which seems like a bug. Kind of like that interaction with Valamon, but it's amazing dialogue you can find. So, what if we just try and go straight to the Elder and talk to him as a skeleton? We can, and well, he kind of goes, "Oh shit, an actual skeleton, what's good, homie?" And then we do an elaborate handshake that's hard to describe, but there's a bunch of backflips and power slides. Elder kind of goes, "Pretty good gig I have going on here, right? Convincing humans into thinking they are skeletons to kill other humans? Shit's hilarious, bro." To give context, all skeletons in Kenshi are in the know, but they're all secretive because what they know is eldritch or something. Even player-controlled skeletons know. That's why he's so real with us off the bat. We both know. And he's glad to see another skeleton because we both know. And depending on how you respond to him, you can either join him in his madness and watch human beings kill each other, or call him insane more or less. If we join him this way, the skeleton bandits become allies and the other pit gangs become sworn enemies to us. And we get a free bodyguard contract where the Elder himself will even tag along for a while. Even if we call him a sociopath, he will thank us and we can still join him as an equal either way, which is kind of funny. So, the skeleton bandits are nothing more than entertainment for a bored skeleton psychopath who enjoys watching human beings suffer. Which is kinda wicked, but pretty appropriate as far as Kenshi standards go. So, what if we manage to talk to the Elder as a human? Well, they attack us on sight, right? Well, If we sneak in real quick and talk to the Elder, the interaction is much, much different, and he will have something interesting to say. If we can sneak in and talk to him in time, he starts his bullshit pretty strong by calling us a skeleton right off the bat. He claims to be the first skeleton ever created, and that both of you, as skeletons, need to exterminate the toxic humans. Even if you point out that his followers are literally just human beings in metal masks, he claims that they are skeletons and that they are saved. Which is pretty hilarious since we know he's just an utter bullshitter doing this for fun. So as soon as you ask to join, you are welcomed with no resistance, and you're told to take the fight to the other pit gangs. But, as we know, this is just to fuel more violence for his own entertainment and nothing more. After this, you get that same bodyguard contract where they all follow you around for a little bit, and then the other gangs will become hostile to you. So what does this do for us? Joining the faction stops their raids, and they will also now tag along and help us out in the field as allies periodically. So we have one less gang to worry about harassing us, and we can also use all of their facilities, which is pretty handy. However, like with all gangs, this makes joining the others much harder to do, since we have chosen a side between all of them, so it does have a downside of turning the other ones definitely hostile from hostile. So they offer quite a bit, nothing crazy. But allies are nice in Kenshi, so how about helping them expand? What can we do for the old skeleton bandits? Well, despite being able to join them and all that, the Elder isn't too interested in taking anything over, so this gang actually can't take over any new settlements or cities, or even achieve new spawns anywhere on the map, so you can't actually alter this faction other than destroying it. So they won't ever be able to help us out anywhere other than the pits, more or less. So you can't get these guys to help you fight samurai or paladins or anything else, but they're neat allies if you happen to need help fighting the other gangs around town. What about the other side of the brainwashing scale? Is it worth joining the Skin Bandits? Probably one of the most intriguing gangs in the game, and definitely the most fucking terrifying. Most of you cybernetic chads out there will have been here before to visit this gang before for that peeler machine at least. But what about joining the ranks of the Skin Bandits themselves? If we can make it to Savant, the leader of the Skin Bandits as a fellow human, he straight up tells us we're a dumbass for coming there, and shortly afterwards we are attacked and peeled, so we definitely ain't joining like that. What if we walk a hiver in here? Well, Savant seems to be somewhat receptive of a non-skinned bug bro rolling up. If we ask him what the hell's going on, he seems to be genuinely insane. Like, not evil insane, like conspiracy theorist insane, I guess. Kinda like those old people that watch the news, I guess. It's hard to explain, but I think he's literally just fucking crazy. It's a lot to unpack here, but basically what he tells us, the loose reason for the skeletons running around in human skin, is that the toxins from the Ashlands is making them insane. Hence, that's why all the skeletons in the Ashlands are marching around killing everything that moves. Humans are protected from the Ashland toxins because they have skin. So you probably see where this is going. The only way to clear out these toxins are to do things that humans do. And since skeletons can't do a lot of these things themselves naturally, wearing human skin is about the best they can do to protect themselves from becoming rampaging killers like the skeletons in the Ashlands. So the only solution is they need to become human to avoid this fate. If we ask to join as a hiver, we're straight up rejected, but we're also still free to leave, so that's nice at least. Being a human gets you killed, being a hiver kinda gets you rambled too. What if we take a skeleton to Savant and ask to be cured of our skinless ways? Well, if we're a skeleton, we can actually talk to a skin bandit who will promptly tell us to go to Savant to be cured. If we take this advice, as soon as we talk to Savant, he seems pretty excited to see another skeleton walk in and assumes we are here to join them, and comes off very nice with a well-mannered introduction. He will tell us the exact same thing about the Ashlands and the toxins and all that as a skeleton as he told the hiver. We can also ask what he thinks about Sheks and Hivers, and he straight up says fuck those guys. I'm guessing because they don't have skin, and it's hard to get the skin off a Shek because of all the bones, but whatever. With that, we can join and be cured of our skinless ways. And afterwards, I gotta say, the transformation is shocking. I'm like a new man. So maybe the savant guy is really onto something. So what's the benefits of joining the Skin Bandits? Well, the major one is you get to be exempt from the attacks and raids from the most dangerous capture faction in the entire game. So that's a pretty big ass benefit, I'd say. There are also some facilities we can make use of, kind of like with the Skeleton Bandits, where you can heal your fragile human body and be among very amazing and very human company as well. And fellow Skin Bandits will join you out in the field sometimes as terrifying backup. And it's a good thing to have something like that so close to the dreaded Ashlands. So what can we do to help these guys expand? Sadly, much like the Elders, Savant seems to be too damn lazy to go out and actually take over any towns or cities, which is probably a good thing. I'd hate to see what these Skeleton Bandits would do to a united city if they got their hands on it, so we can't get any new places for them to control, sadly. But we can spread their influence some. If we do happen to kill their major rival, the Elder, they will actually start to spawn farther into the pits themselves, closer to where the Crab Raiders are and all that, but nothing too crazy. So they only get about one spawn override. Other than the one override, I will mention that these Skin Bandits do have a pretty odd place that they reside in. They don't necessarily control this place, but they're very much there, and I never knew about it. Along the neighboring coast, they seem to have taken over a village not too far from their territory. When first approaching this abandoned village, it's actually called Nice Ruin on the map to lure you in. And as soon as you open one of the doors to one of the buildings, you quickly realize it is populated entirely by Skin Bandits. And the name on the map is changed to Horrible Ruined. And I think that's so fucking funny. And that's about all that's worth noting about our good friends, the Skinned Ones of the South. And now let's talk about the best gang out there, the fucking Crab Raiders. The Crab Raiders have their own unique crab armor. They have, you guessed it, crabs.
Oh yeah!
And they're mainly comprised of Scorchlanders. Or they're actually only comprised of Scorchlanders. And they will attack the Crabless on site out in the field. But Daniel, how can I be blessed like those who are crabbed, and become crustaceous myself? Well, there are two ways to join these crabbed crusaders. Well, the first one's pretty straightforward. If you have no negative faction relations with the Crab Raiders, meaning you're like at 0, you can actually just visit their village and their capital, as the residents of either will not attack you. The patrols might though, so keep an eye out. Other than that, you're free to chill in the Crab Village and the capital, and they're cool with it. However, the armorers will not trade with you unless you're actually allied. But even with this, we can still buy crabs if we're not a part of this faction or allied with them, as the crab dealer will peddle us some crabs happily. Nothing is stopping us from buying a crab army. Do you see why this faction is so important to me? You can buy as many crabs as you want. But if you want to officially ally with them the easy way, just walk on up to the capital, talk to the crab mama herself, and tell her you want in on the crabbing. And now you have a dangerous group of friends, and that's it. Despite being a gang of Scorchlanders, the crabbed ones will happily accept any race, as long as they are worthy of being crabbed. And you just have to make it to the capital and find the queen, so that's about it. But there is another way to join them. It's a bit convoluted. Well, it's not convoluted. It's actually just very, very, very buggy. But it's essentially a series of raids. A tournament, if you will. A crab tournament. If you have a base nearby, the Crab Raiders will decide at some point that you're going to host a crab tournament, whether you want to or not. So right off the bat, this crab tournament is guaranteed to glitch out by the second raid, or become bugged in one way or another as a heads up. So you wanna do some things to try and prevent this from happening. Personally, I have never gotten past like the second part of the tournament, seeing how it always breaks. But the best advice I can give if you want to genuinely try and get this to work is to make your base as close as you can to their village or capital, like as close as you're willing, and save like a madman throughout the whole thing. There are 4 parts to the crab tournament in total, with each getting harder than the last, but it is really cool, and as you can see, it gets pretty fucking crazy. The idea here is that you're the new rival crab trainer, and the crab raiders don't like that. So they are going to host a crab tournament to prove who is the ultimate crab trainer. A battle of the crabs. But the funniest part about this is you don't even need to have crabs. Like, they will show up, host a crab tournament, and they don't even give a fuck if there's a crab in your base at all. So it's somewhat straightforward. It's basically just a raid you have to defeat. But there's a chance that it won't defeat it. You need to defeat the raid and have it say you defeated. If it says ended, yeah, you fucked it up. The quest is broken now, more or less, so good luck next time. I hope you made those saves. If you are lucky enough to prove you are worthy in the eyes of the crab and defeat their champion, the monstrous Crabinator, who actually didn't spawn for my raid. Like, I got to the end of the raid and the Crabinator wasn't actually there. So despite his absence, I was still able to win. So for the Crabinator, I would just imagine a big ass crab with laser beam eyes and chainsaw arms, and probably a missile launcher on the back of his shell. But yeah, sadly I couldn't get him to spawn in, and I didn't want to redo the whole crab thing. If you are able to defeat the crab tournament, you are awarded a mighty 200 plus relations and the title of Crab Champion, thoroughly allying you with the crabbed ones of the south, giving you access to their beds, their crab armor, their crabs, and the help of the crab raiders themselves. Phenomenal. Sadly, there isn't any special dialogue from the queen for winning the crab tournament, but the main benefit of doing it this way is that allying with the crab raiders in this manner won't turn the other gangs hostile. So now that we're allied with the crabbed ones, what can we do to increase their influence on the world of Kenshi? Well, sadly it isn't as much as the Reavers, but they can take over the sickest base we have seen yet. Yeah, Valaman's punk-ass headquarters are eligible for a crab takeover. With him gone, Ark afterwards will now belong to the Crab Raiders, and in my opinion, it's a much better place because of it, turning it into a sick hangout pimp pad, complete with bar and crabs and crab raiders. Say what you will about the crab raiders, but they know how to live in style. Other than this wicked cool takeover, what else can they take command of? Well, nothing else sadly. But they have the sickest base in all of Kenshi, or well, close to it. The only other thing we can do for our friends the crab raiders is give them access to another zone that they can spawn in, and that's it. But it is a very cool zone. The crab raiders can spawn and march their crabs all the way into Hang, the region, not necessarily the town. I should clarify. But yeah, they can invade it just like the Reavers could, and their actual allies. To achieve this world state, much like we had to do for Valaman, we need to destroy Lady Sugi and the noble Yoshinaga, and Valaman himself as the main difference. With all of these leaders dead, you can now have strong allies that will spawn and help you if you find yourself battling the United Cities, and they will be there right on their fucking doorstep, and it's probably one of the coolest overrides in the game. Ain't nothing better than marching through the United Cities with the Crab Bros. But yeah, that's about it for all the pit gangs. I don't think there's really anything else worth mentioning. That's the pit gangs of the South, more or less. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you see why the Crab Raiders are the best faction in the pits. More crabs to come, and more Kenshi too, so stay tuned.